Very rarely is there a cartoon that I am excited for upon announcement, but Jellystone is a cartoon that I just could not miss! I've had my full attention on the show since the day it was announced, and I kept my eyes on it until release. But why would I be so excited about this particular show, you might be wondering? Is it because of Jellystone bringing classic Hanna-Barbera characters into the modern era? Oh yeah, right. Because everyone just loves modern reboots of classic properties. Yeah. No, Jellystone had one thing going for it that confirmed it was going to be amazing. I present to you C.H. Greenblatt. This magnificent man has worked on many fantastic cartoons like SpongeBob and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, my personal favorite. But he wouldn't be as well known until he created his own show, Chowder. He also later went on to make Harvey's Breaks for Nickelodeon, but Nickelodeon just refuses to acknowledge it exists. As for Chowder, many of you may not know about the show itself, but there is no doubt you've come across plenty of clips of it online. Chowder is one of those shows that's very self-aware, which makes for some great clip compilations online, but trust me when I say that Chowder has far more to offer than what these clips showcase. But I'll be saving my feelings on Chowder for another day. Just know it's one of my top favorite cartoons, and that should show why I was so unbelievably hyped for Jellystone. Knowing the creator behind the show wasn't the only reason I was excited for the show, though it played a big part. After I heard who's behind it, I was then super interested in the show's concept. The idea behind Jellystone is that the show centers around a town filled with classic Hanna-Barbera characters, all doing their jobs and living day-to-day lives. This concept should sell the show to anyone who grew up with the early 2000s Cartoon Network. During those years, Cartoon Network came up with the idea of Cartoon Network City, or CN City for short. This was a collection of bumpers that would play in between shows, featuring the network line of cartoon characters living in a city together. T was such a fun idea that it really gave the network life that it severely lacks today. Jellystone takes that basic idea of these characters all living in a city and expands upon it into a full series. You'll find your beloved Hanna-Barbera characters here, from big names like Yogi Bear and Top Cat, to more deep-cut characters like, this guy! Yeah! And though you'll find many characters you already know in the show, they won't exactly be as how you remember them. Jellystone takes some liberties with the characters in the show, and the changes seem to have people very divided. Personally, I really like the changes made. A lot of characters in the show have new occupations, like Yogi Bear becoming a doctor and Johnny Quest running a bowling alley. These changes definitely aren't for nothing. They are very instrumental to the characters in the show. Though, these aren't really the changes that have everyone so conflicted here. The big elephant in the room has to do with some of the characters having their genders changed. Like Ogle Doggy, Jabberjaw, two members of the Top Cat gang, and so on and so forth. Normally, I don't like these kind of changes because they don't seem to have any time or reason behind why the changes were made. But in Jellystone, these changes, much like the others, feel instrumental to the characters. Augie Doggy is a little girl with an unbelievably overprotective father, and she's oblivious to a lot that the world has to offer due to her sheltering. So many of her episodes in Jellystone is about experiencing the world outside of her father's overprotective bubble. It leads to some amazing moments that I don't think would have been effective otherwise. And one other thing to note is that Jellystone is a comedy, a very hard comedy. You aren't just getting a show about Hanna-Barbera characters living in a city, you're getting that premise at such an exaggerated extreme. And obviously, this is why you shouldn't take the changes to heart. But more so, this is the cherry on top of the whole show. Long story short, it's just Chowder. If you like Chowder's comedy, you're going to love the comedy in the show. However, Jellystone isn't full of meta humor like Chowder. The humor is a perfect mix of randomness, expectation defiance, and such perfect timing. It's good. The character writing and voice acting also really helps sell the comedy. On that note though, I'm really glad the show's been so light on the meta humor. It would have been so easy to fill the show with fourth wall breaking jokes or really cheap references about Hanna-Barbera's past. But I think what makes Jellystone as good as it is how it stays dedicated to its concept. This really feels like a town with these characters living with one another. So if it had a thick sense of meta humor, the show would easily lose that depth. And all in all, Jellystone just does everything so right. It uses its concept to the fullest. The comedy is nailed, often perfectly. Perfect! The animation is so clean and creative at times. The characters are just very well done. They're well done. And if you couldn't, after this entire video of me ranting and raving about the show, I'm still gonna do it. I highly recommend checking out the show. And you can watch it if you're subscribed to HBO Max, though Cartoon Network has started airing episodes as well. As of right now, the show only has one season, but I'm certain more is on the way. It'd be a crime if this show got canceled after a single season, but then again, this wouldn't be the first time that's happened to good shows. Nevertheless, be sure to check it out if you haven't already. But I'm getting too excited. I think that's going to be it for this review. So be sure to subscribe and help support the content we make. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next review.